I, 34M, still remember the day I proposed to Charlotte, 29F. We were at our favorite spot overlooking the city, sunset painting the sky in oranges and pinks, when I got down on one knee. She cried. I cried, and I thought my heart would burst from happiness when she said yes. Our wedding was small, but perfect, just close friends and family at a countryside venue with fairy lights strung across the garden. Everyone commented on how stunning Charlotte looked in her dress, and I couldn't take my eyes off her the entire day. I truly believed I was the luckiest man alive. The first months of marriage were blissful. Charlotte was everything I wanted in a partner: smart, funny, kind, and yes, incredibly beautiful. I didn't think it was possible to love someone this much. We'd talk for hours about our future, our plans to start a family, the house we wanted to buy with the big backyard for our kids to play in. Last Tuesday started like any other day. I left for work at 7:30, kissed Charlotte goodbye, and texted her during my lunch break like I usually do. When I got home that evening, I found her sitting at our kitchen table with a strange look on her face. "We need to talk," she said quietly. I remember feeling a chill run through me. Nothing good ever follows those words. I sat down across from her, my mind racing through all the possibilities. Was someone sick? Had she lost her job? Was she unhappy with me? "I'm pregnant," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. For a moment, pure joy washed over me. We'd been talking about starting a family, though we hadn't actively been trying yet. I jumped up and pulled her into a hug, tears stinging my eyes. "That's amazing news. Oh my God, we're going to be parents." I was laughing, crying, already thinking about nursery colors and baby names. But Charlotte didn't hug me back. She stood stiffly in my embrace, and when I pulled away to look at her face, her expression stopped me cold. "What's wrong?" I asked, my smile fading. She looked down at the floor and took a deep breath. "You're not the father." I thought I'd misheard her. The words didn't make sense, like they were in a language I didn't understand. "What are you talking about? Are you serious?" She nodded slowly, still not meeting my eyes. "I'm serious." My mind went completely blank. I stumbled back to my chair and sat down heavily, the room suddenly spinning around me. "Who?" I started, then had to clear my throat to continue. "Who is the father, then?" "You don't know him," she said. "He's my ex from before we met." The implications hit me like a physical blow. Charlotte had been seeing someone else, sleeping with someone else, while we were married, while we were planning our future together. "How long?" I managed to ask, my voice sounding strange and distant to my own ears. "It was just one time," she said quickly. "I ran into him 3 months ago at a conference when I was out of town. It was a mistake. I was drunk and—" "Stop," I said, holding up my hand. I couldn't bear to hear the details. "Just stop." The silence that followed was deafening. Charlotte remained standing, fidgeting with her wedding ring, while I sat frozen in my chair, unable to process what was happening. "Say something," she finally whispered. "What do you want me to say?" My voice came out hollow. "Congratulations? Thank you for telling me before the baby arrives." "I know you're angry." "Angry doesn't begin to cover it, Charlotte." I stood up, needing to move, to do something with the energy building inside me. "Were you ever going to tell me if you weren't pregnant? Or would you have just kept cheating?" "It wasn't like that," she said, tears now streaming down her face. "It really was just that one time. I've been torturing myself about it ever since." "But not enough to tell me until you had no choice," I pointed out. "Not until there was physical evidence you couldn't hide." She sank into a chair, burying her face in her hands. "I didn't know how to tell you. I was terrified of losing you." "Well, that worked out great," I said, the sarcasm bitter on my tongue. I paced the kitchen, running my hands through my hair, trying to think clearly through the fog of betrayal and shock. Every memory of the past 3 months now felt tainted. All those nights I'd held her, whispered how much I loved her, planned our future, all while she carried this secret. "Does he know?" I asked suddenly. Charlotte looked up, her makeup smeared. "Yes. I told him last week when I found out." Another knife to the heart. He knew before I did. "And what does he want?" "He wants to be involved," she said quietly. "He's married too. His wife doesn't know yet." I laughed without humor. "Great. So there's a whole soap opera happening here." "I'm so sorry," she said, reaching for my hand, but I pulled away. "I never meant for any of this to happen." "Nobody ever does," I replied. "But you made choices, Charlotte. Every step of the way, you chose this." I walked to the living room window, staring out at the darkening street, trying to imagine what my life would look like now. Everything I thought I knew about my marriage, my future, had just been shattered. "What do you want to do?" she asked after several minutes of silence. I turned to look at her, this woman I'd loved so completely, who now seemed like a stranger. "I don't know," I admitted. "I need time to think." "Are you going to leave me?" Her voice cracked. "Would you blame me if I did?" She shook her head, fresh tears falling. "No, but I hope you don't. That night, I slept in the spare room, though slept is generous. I mostly stared at the ceiling, replaying every moment of our relationship, wondering if there had been signs I'd missed. The next morning, Charlotte was sitting at the kitchen table when I came down, eyes red and swollen. She'd made coffee, my favorite breakfast, a peace offering I couldn't bring myself to accept. "I've been thinking all night," she said as I silently poured myself coffee. "I understand if you want a divorce, but I need you to know that I love you. What happened was a terrible mistake, and I'll do anything to make it right." I leaned against the counter, studying her face. The face I'd woken up to every morning, the face I thought I knew better than my own. "How can I ever trust you again?" I asked. "Every time you go somewhere without me, every time you're late coming home, I'll wonder." "We could try counseling," she suggested. "People do come back from these things." "Some people," I corrected. "Not everyone." The days that followed were a blur. I moved through them like a ghost, going through the motions at work, barely eating, hardly sleeping. Friends noticed something was wrong, but I couldn't bring myself to tell anyone what had happened. Somehow, saying it aloud would make it more real. Charlotte tried everything, leaving notes around the house, cooking my favorite meals, giving me space when I needed it. One night, I came home to find her sitting with a stack of brochures for marriage counselors. "I've done some research," she said cautiously. "These are all highly recommended." I looked at the glossy papers, all promising to help couples navigate infidelity and rebuild trust. Was that even possible? Part of me wanted to try, the part that still loved her despite everything. But another part, growing louder each day, kept reminding me that our marriage was built on a foundation that had been cracked beyond repair. A week after her confession, her ex called our home phone. Charlotte was in the shower, so I answered. There was an awkward silence when I introduced myself. "Oh," he said finally. "I was expecting Charlotte." "I'm sure you were," I replied coldly. "Look," he said, clearing his throat. "I just want you to know this isn't easy for anyone. I never meant to interfere in your marriage." "But you did," I said. "And now we're all living with the consequences." After I hung up, I sat on the edge of our bed, the reality of the situation hitting me anew. This wasn't just about Charlotte and me anymore. There was a child involved, a child that would be connected to both our lives forever, regardless of what happened to our marriage. That night, I finally broke down and called my oldest friend, Mark. We met at a bar far from my neighborhood, where I told him everything over several beers. "What are you going to do?" he asked when I finished. "I don't know," I admitted. "Part of me still loves her, but I don't know if love is enough anymore." "Could you raise another man's child?" he asked gently. The question hung between us. Could I? Every time I would look at the child, would I see Charlotte's betrayal? Or would I see an innocent life that had no part in the adult's mistakes? The following Sunday, Charlotte went to visit her parents, giving me the house to myself. I spent hours walking from room to room, looking at our photos, touching the furniture we'd picked out together, remembering the life we'd built. By the time she returned, I'd made my decision. "I can't do this," I told her as she set down her purse. "I've tried to imagine a future where we move past this, but I can't see it." Her face crumpled, but she nodded slowly. "I understand. I want a divorce," I said, the words feeling strange and final. "I'll stay with Mark until we figure out the logistics." "Is there anything I can say to change your mind?" she asked, tears welling in her eyes. "I don't think so," I replied honestly. "What we had was beautiful, Charlotte, but it's broken now, and I don't know how to fix it." As I packed a suitcase with trembling hands, Charlotte sat on our bed watching me, occasionally wiping away tears. "I really do love you," she said as I zipped the suitcase closed. "I believe you," I said. And maybe that's the saddest part of all this. When I walked out the door that evening, carrying just enough clothes for a few weeks, I felt both emptier and somehow lighter than I had in days. The road ahead would be difficult. Lawyers, paperwork, dividing our life into his and hers. But I knew I was making the right choice for me. Some breaks can't be mended. Some betrayals cut too deep. Sometimes, the kindest thing you can do for yourself is to walk away and start again. I appreciate you watching till the end. Hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more content.